The courtroom falls silent. Only the faint hum of the ceiling lights dares to interrupt the tension that's thick enough to choke on. Cody Brown sits at the defendant's table, his face pale, eyes darting, hands trembling against the wooden surface. Across from him, Christine's stare burns like fire through glass, calm on the outside but boiling inside. And then the judge leans forward, voice slicing through the tension like a knife. "Mr. Brown, are you ready to hear the truth?" Nobody breathes. Not Robin, holding a tissue in one hand and her wedding ring in the other. Not Janelle, caught between duty and deception. Not Mary, who appears to be witnessing the final shreds of her history disintegrate into powder, because today it's not about marriage anymore, it's about the judge speaks again. And the camera sweeps over faces we believed we knew. The truth about the hidden bank accounts. The truth about the fabricated alibis. And the truth about that night when everything changed. And by the time the gavel comes down, someone will leave free, and someone else will never be the same. You think you've heard the sister wives saga? Think again. Because this time, the rain pounds against the courthouse windows as the day begins. The gray sky is oppressive, much like the burden in each heart filling the room. The sister wives family, once a sign of strength and trust, now resembles strangers trapped in the same shot. Cody sits rigid, his tie cinched too tightly, his jaw locked as though containing decades of rage. In front of him, Christine tucks her chin down, her fingers tracing the curve of a silver locket that once hung from her neck as a badge of love and harmony. The locket now feels like shackles. The judge, a 50-something woman with a voice sharp enough to shave glass, clears her throat. Court is in session. Case number 2415, Brown versus Brown. The words resound like a last bell before the storm. Cameras are forbidden inside, but you can sense the unseen audience observing from the outside world. Millions of viewers who once thought they believed in this family's fairy tale reality. But now, this is not a reality show. This is a reckoning. The case is about financial fraud and emotional abuse, charges so enmeshed that even the attorneys appear uneasy. Christine's lawyer stands, her voice steady but sharp. "Your Honor, this case isn't about money. It's about manipulation, deception, and the betrayal of trust." She points to Cody. "My client was misled, emotionally drained, and financially controlled." Cody's lawyer immediately rises, his tone defensive. "Objection, Your Honor. We're here to discuss property distribution, not personal feelings." The judge doesn't even blink. Overruled. Everything in this marriage appears personal. A murmur runs through the courtroom. Robin reaches out for Cody's hand, but he doesn't look at her. Janelle looks between them, her face impassive, as Mary sits in the back row, quiet, watching, her eyes puffy from last night. Christine steps into the witness stand. As soon as her name is invoked, the atmosphere shifts. Cody glances up. His eyes flash with something like anger and remorse. Christine walks slowly, shoulders braced, but face pale. When she swears, her voice breaks a little. "Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" "I do." The lawyer moves in closer. "Christine, can you explain to the court what prompted you to bring this case?" She pauses, glancing at Cody before responding. "It wasn't one thing," she answers quietly. "It was years of silence, years of pretending that we were fine when we weren't. But the last straw was the account." "Which account?" "The joint family fund," Christine answers, voice shaking. "The one we all pooled money into for years, for the children, for the houses, for our future. But then I found out it was gone." The room whispers in shock. Cody's face sets. His attorney interrupts. "Objection! Speculation!" The judge shakes her head. Overruled. "Let her speak." Christine goes on, the words spilling from her lips now, a tear forming. "When I asked him, he said, 'Don't worry,' that he put it away for family security. But when I dug deeper, I saw withdrawals that didn't coincide with our spending. Trips, jewelry, deposits into an account in another name." She takes a deep breath. "Robin's name." A wave of murmurs passes through the room like a shockwave. Robin's complexion whitens. Cody's voice trembles as he whispers something to his lawyer. Christine's attorney continues. "And when you confronted him?" "He said love isn't money," she replies. "But if that's the case, why did he take everything that was ours?" Robin interrupts her silence, whispering harshly, "That's not true, Christine. You know it's not." The judge holds up a hand. "Mrs. Brown, you will have your turn." Christine dabs away a tear. "I'm not here to destroy anyone," she whispers. "I just want to know why." That question hangs in the balance. Even the clock pauses before it continues ticking. Cody finally rises from his seat, ignoring his lawyer's warning hand. "Your Honor," he says, voice raised, "I've provided for this family for decades. I've sacrificed everything for them. And now I'm being painted as a thief?" He looks around, searching for sympathy that never comes. Christine watches him, quiet, broken, but resolute. "You sacrificed us," she says barely above a whisper, "for her." The judge's gavel bangs once. "That's enough for now." "We'll recess for lunch." The sound echoes like thunder. As the courtroom empties, the camera, if it were still rolling, would catch every trembling breath, every unfinished glance. Janelle approaches Christine quietly. "You sure about this?" she asks. Christine nods, wiping her tears. "It's the only way left to be free." The reporters buzz around outside the courtroom like bees, calling out questions above the rain. Cody covers Robin with his jacket, leading her out to the car. Christine emerges by herself, the raindrops mixing with the tears on her cheeks. Mary remains behind, in the doorway, observing as they all disperse. The family once united as one, now broken like glass when under pressure. The camera dissolves to black, but the voiceover continues gentle and ethereal. Every truth has a price, and for the Browns, that price has just begun to be paid. The courthouse is cool the next day, gnawing with the weight of yesterday's tension as if the building itself soaked it in. The room is heavy with whispers as Christine enters, not whispers born of gossip, but of disbelief and pity. Outside, the headlines already shout betrayal, embezzlement, secrets. The Brown family name no longer a word associated with households, but a headline. Cody comes in a few minutes later, jaw set, suit a shade deeper than yesterday, as if attempting to steel himself for what lies ahead. Robin walks alongside him, staying clear of every gaze. Her purse clutched so hard in her hand, her knuckles turn white. Janelle falls behind, silent and watchful, the one who ever observed more than she talked, and Mary... She sits once more in the back row, her expression impassive, as if holding on to the final page of a book she does not want to read the end of. The judge arrives at 10 sharp. The gavel hits. "We shall continue testimony," she states. Christine's lawyer stands, her face stern, professional, but her eyes tender enough to indicate that she understands that this is not a case. This is a breakdown. "Your Honor, we have fresh evidence to present." A file thuds on the desk as if magnified beyond its actual impact. The defense protests at once, but the judge motions it aside. The envelope is opened, and within, a chain of transfers, bank statements, receipts, dates. Christine glances down at the documents and back up to Cody. "These weren't supposed to be," she mutters under her breath. The lawyer continues, "These records were found on a shared cloud storage, which our forensic expert just recently located. They indicate considerable transfers of money from family accounts to private assets, totals of more than $480,000. The courtroom erupts into motion. Cody's face changes from calm to alarm, but he rapidly covers it over with indignation. "That was for investments," he barks, rising suddenly. "We as a family agreed." The lawyer doesn't bat an eyelid. Agreed. Or told. Cody's mouth drops open, but nothing emerges. The judge leans forward. "Mr. Brown, you will sit down." The room grows quiet once more. Christine's lawyer goes on. "We've also subpoenaed records of communications, emails between Mr. Brown and Mrs. Robin Brown about these transfers. The language implies a purpose to hide funds." Robin's head snaps up. "That's not true," she exclaims, her words shaking. "We were protecting the family assets from Christine's threats to leave." The judge holds up her hand once more. "Mrs. Brown, wait your turn." Robin's mouth compresses in tight lines, but her eyes shine and she glances over at Cody, desperately hoping he'll make this right. Cody gasps, then glances over at the judge. This family's been destroyed by bitterness, not money. Christine wanted out years ago. Now she's attempting to pull us all under. Christine's voice rises over the crowd, firm but low. "You pulled us under when you lost interest in everyone other than yourself." The courtroom is filled with low murmurs. Janelle fidgets in her seat, the look in her eyes that of someone restraining decades of kept secrets. Mary looks at her, something about to break through. The judge nods for Christine's lawyer to go on. We have our next witness, she says, Mrs. Janelle Brown. The sound of the name alone causes Cody to stiffen. Janelle slowly stands, crosses over to the stand, and is sworn in. Her voice is cool, even unnaturally so. Janelle, the lawyer starts softly, you've been a member of this family for many decades. Can you tell the court when you first knew something was amiss? Janelle looks at Cody before responding. It began about a year prior to when Christine exited. She explains, Cody became remote, controlling. He began having secretive meetings with Robin regarding finances, meetings the rest of us were not privy to. Nettie, she hesitates, her eyes darting to Robin. When I questioned it, he said it was too complex for me to comprehend. That's when I knew something was being concealed. Robin grumbles under her breath, that is not fair. But Janelle goes on. He told us that it was for our future, but somehow our future began to look a whole lot more like his. The room is hanging on every word. Christine glances down, tears pricking again, while Cody tightens his fists under the table. The attorney gives Janelle one of the bank statements. Do you know this transaction? Yes, Janelle responds. That was the time Christine requested assistance with her mortgage payment. Cody told us we didn't have the funds, but then I saw this withdrawal. And what was it for? A property in Robin's name. A collective gasp runs through the courtroom. Robin shakes her head vehemently. No, that was supposed to be temporary. The judge bangs her gavel. Order! Janelle drops her eyes, now shaking. We trusted him, all of us. And when we questioned him, he said faith demands obedience. Cody finally speaks up again, standing tall, his voice nearly desperate. I was trying to protect this family from itself. He yells, you all wanted freedom without responsibility. You turned on me the second I tried to lead. Christine stands up. You quit leading when you began lying. The judge, obviously tired but interested, groans. Mr. Brown, please sit down. Mrs. Brown, go on. Christine's attorney nods. No further questions, Your Honor. The truth speaks for itself, but just as the judge is going to call for a break, Cody's attorney rises. Your Honor, the defense would like to produce its own witness, Mrs. Robin Brown. The atmosphere changes. Robin gets up and makes her way to the stand, wiping at her eyes, moving with slow deliberation. She sits and is sworn in, her voice shaking but under control. The defense lawyer approaches quietly, mindful that sympathy might tip the room. Robin, you've been charged with being aware of these transfers. Can you tell us your version? Robin scans the room, allowing her eyes to briefly settle on Christine. I didn't steal from anyone, she says. I was protecting what was left. Christine, already emotionally checked out. She was threatening to leave, to take the children, to make statements to the press that would ruin all of us. Cody panicked. He said he needed to transfer the money before she did. Christine's mouth opens. That's a lie. Robin dabs her tears. You said you'd expose everything. You said if you couldn't have peace, no one could. The judge observes carefully, studying each response. The audience feels torn. For a moment, Robin's tears look real, her words convincing. But Christine's pain feels older, deeper, something beyond the reach of performance. Cody nods along, seizing the moment. See? That's what I've been dealing with. Manipulation, threats, betrayal. But before he can go on, Janelle interrupts quietly. You're describing yourself. All eyes turn to her. You made us choose loyalty or survival, Cody. That's not leadership. That's control. A heavy pause ensues, heavier than argument. The judge finally sits forward. I am enjoining a temporary freeze on all contested assets pending the determination of rightful ownership by this court. We will meet tomorrow. Her gavel comes down. The room breathes collectively. But before everyone even gets to their feet, a voice is heard from the back, shaking, soft, but unmistakable. Your Honor, I have something to say. It's Mary. Everyone halts. Even the judge seems astonished. Mrs. Mary Brown? Yes, she says, rising from her seat. I wasn't going to speak. But after hearing what I heard today, I can no longer remain silent. The judge nods slowly. Very well. Come forward. Mary moves to the front, her heels clicking on the wooden floor, her eyes glassy but resolute. I have evidence, she tells him. Evidence that this runs deeper than anyone here is aware. Cody's face bleaches white. Mary, he begins, but she interrupts him. No, you don't get to speak anymore. She addresses the judge. I discovered a few months ago a series of deleted messages between Cody and an attorney. Plans for moving not only money, but ownership of the family production rights. He was going to break our co-signed agreement behind closed doors and sign it all over to himself and Robin. The whole courtroom explodes. Cody pounds his fist on the table. That's not true. Those were drafts. Nothing was signed. Mary waves a printed email in the air. Then why did you instruct him to move before Christine suspects? The judge takes the paper, reading hastily, her eyebrows scrunched up. Mr. Brown, she declares, her voice firm, if these are genuine documents, you might well be charged with fraud and misrepresentation. Cody's mouth falls open and then closes once more, totally cornered. The air is taut, filled with years of suffering, betrayal, and the understanding that the family that once was looked up to has fallen beyond redemption. Robin buries her face in her hands, whispering, "Oh God." Christine stands frozen, one hand over her mouth, unable to decide if she's relieved or heartbroken. The judge, trying to restore order, slams the gavel. Enough! This court will reconvene tomorrow morning. Bring every piece of evidence and every secret you've been hiding. The sound rings out like the ending note of a requiem. As everyone exits, the camera, if this was being filmed, would remain on Cody's face. The man who founded a kingdom of love, now reduced to standing amidst the devastation he created. The rain begins again outside, softly at first, then increasingly louder, as if the sky itself is grieving for the family it once beheld in awe. Christine walks by him without so much as a look. Janelle trails behind, quiet but determined. Robin lingers slightly behind, speaking to Cody in a whisper. What do we do? His response is whispered too softly to make out. Survive. Mary hesitates at the door, glancing back once, speaking softly but weighted with gravity. Survive? You already burned it all, and you had no business surviving it. She departs from him, standing alone as the camera fades to black. The voice of the narrator reappears, slow, contemplative, laden with sorrow. The truth has a way of seeing the light no matter how hard it's hidden, but sometimes the light stings more than the darkness. Morning falls heavily over the courthouse, the sky battered with gray and slashes of pale light slicing through clouds like scars. Yesterday's chaos still lingers like a specter in the corridors. Reporters throng outside, their voices shrill and ravenous, hurling questions no one will dare to answer. Within, the Browns meet once more, not as a family, but broken shards of something that formerly feigned to be intact. Christine is the first to arrive, her face wan, eyes reddened but resolute. She moves with the stillness of one who's already lost everything and has nothing more to fear. Janelle comes afterward, holding tightly to a tiny notebook against her chest. Notes, perhaps, or memories she's not yet willing to part with. Robin comes in second, Cody and Robin standing shoulder to shoulder, the space between them clear even as they walk side by side. His hand lingers close to hers but never touches. The tension between them is telling. Mary comes last, her arrival stirring the room's energy like a pre-storm wind. The judge takes her seat, looking weary, eyes shadowed but sharp. Court is back in session, she says, voice echoing across the chamber. We will resume the case of Brown versus Brown. I've reviewed the documents presented yesterday. They are troubling, to say the least. Cody sits tall but restless, his lawyer whispering urgently, but he doesn't seem to hear. His gaze darts back and forth between Christine and Mary, his face impassive, guilt, anger, perhaps both. Christine's lawyer rises. Your Honor, prior to going further, we'd like to play an audio tape found on the family's shared drive. It's directly related to Mr. Brown's intent to defraud with finances. The defense protests, but the judge shushes them. Play the recording. The court technician presses play, and Cody's voice erupts from the room, low and deliberate. We take the money first, then discuss it later. They'll be upset, but it's easier to seek forgiveness than ask permission. There's a heavy silence afterward. The recording cuts off with a quiet laugh. His laugh. Cody bangs his hand on the table. That was out of context, he yells, face red. The judge still looks unconvinced. Christine's eyes are closed, pain etched on her face, raw. That was the man I lived with for 25 years, she breathes. The crowd stirs, energy crackling through the room like static. Robin starts to quietly weep, but no one goes to her. Janelle looks across at Mary, mouthing, "Do you think he ever loved any of us?" Mary's voice is soft, empty. "I believe he was infatuated with the concept of us, not the individuals." The judge demands silence. We will now hear testimony from Mrs. Mary Brown. Yesterday, you provided information indicating fraudulent intent. Is there more explanation? Mary nods and comes to the stand. Her voice quavers at first, but gains consistency as she goes on. "I discovered more than those emails. I discovered recordings, personal ones, exchanges between Cody and an accountant. They talked about closing joint accounts and transferring all of it into his name alone. He explained it was to simplify the structure, but he also explained something else, that once it was complete, none of us would have a claim." She fixes him. "You set out to erase us." Cody's attorney stands up frantically. "Objection! This is character assassination." The judge tilts her head. "Overruled. Go on." Cody leans forward, voice breaking beneath the strain of rage and fear. "You think I wanted this? You think I wanted to ruin my family? You all ganged up on me before this." Christine finally breaks her silence, serene but incisive. "No, Cody. You killed us when you began not to see us as human beings and began to view us as possessions." Robin hides her face in her hands and breathes softly. "Stop. Please stop." The air is charged to a breaking point, each breath strained, each heartbeat loud. Janelle closes her eyes, tears held back. The judge exhales, pinching the bridge of her nose. "Let's have a 5-minute recess." But before she can even get up, Cody's attorney leans something in his ear, something that causes Cody to stop dead in his tracks. His face changes as though he's just realized he's been outsmarted. "Your Honor," his attorney speaks up swiftly, "the defense would like to offer counter evidence. We have a witness, someone who can attest to Mrs. Christine Brown's own unethical behavior." The judge raises an eyebrow. "Proceed." The door opens. Heads turn in every direction, and in comes a man nobody had anticipated seeing. Tall, middle-aged, fidgety, but clutching a sheaf of papers. Christine's face goes white. "No," she breathes. The lawyer flashes a small smile. "This is Daniel Harper, a financial advisor who used to work for Mrs. Brown." Christine's heart beats faster. "He's lying," she says under her breath. Daniel steps onto the stand, taking the oath. "Mr. Batchery." "Harper," the defense attorney starts, "can you inform the court about your relationship with Mrs. Brown?" "I handled her personal finances after she departed the family," he responds. "And what did you find out during that period?" Daniel pauses, looking at Christine. "She moved money from the family account to her personal account prior to filing the case, approximately $30,000. Gasp runs through the room. Christine's lawyer springs up. "That is untrue. Those were owed payments for contributions to the household. Do you have anything in writing to substantiate that?" The defense continues. Christine's lawyer hesitates. "Not yet." The judge scowls. Christine appears shattered, as if the earth had opened up beneath her feet. "He's manipulating the truth," she says, her voice cracking. "I took that money because I was desperate. Cody cut me off entirely." The judge holds up a hand. "Mrs. Brown, you'll get your chance." The defense lawyer smiles, sensing a win. It appears the plaintiff isn't as pure as she portrays herself. Christine glances at Janelle, eyes begging. "You know why I did what I did." Janelle nods, trembling voice. "She's lying." Cody froze her accounts, but it's too late now. The courtroom is no longer the same. Uncertain, unstable VBCRLF, the judge finally speaks up. "I will study this testimony and evidence. For now, both sides will refrain from further outbursts. The gavel falls once, but the emotional storm doesn't fade. Undefined." During the break, Christine sits alone, her breathing shallow, undefined. "He planned this," she whispers to herself. "Undefined. He waited for me to fight back so he could twist it." Janelle sits beside her, gripping her hand. Then we fight harder. Meanwhile, across the hall, Cody leans against the wall, eyes distant. Robin attempts to speak, but he interrupts her. "Undefined. I told you she'd come after me. Undefined." Now perhaps they'll understand what she's really like. Robin's head shakes in denial. "Undefined. You think that makes you innocent? Undefined, you've dragged all of us through the depths of hell." He glares at her, his voice icy. "Undefined. It's a matter of survival. Robin, undefined. If she succeeds, we stand to lose everything. Mary, walking by, overhears it all, steeps over and gazes at him, her voice level but heartbroken. You already lost everything, Cody. Undefined, you just don't know it yet. She turns and walks away, leaving him to sink into silence. Undefined. Back in the courtroom, the session picks up where it left off. Undefined, Christine is summoned back to the stand, her voice rough but firm. Undefined. Yes, I took that money. She admits the object because I was trying to protect what was taken away from my life. He had already eliminated me from the finances of the family. I could not buy groceries, pay bills. He cut me out from everything. I did what I had to do to survive. The attorney asks, So you're admitting to embezzlement? Christine shakes her head. No, I'm admitting to standing up for myself. The judge observes carefully. It appears, she says gingerly, that both parties can be questioned about their actions. But something is certain. This family lived under secrecy and manipulation for too long. She sits silently for a moment, scanning the room. And I bet we still don't know the whole thing. That remark sets waves among everyone. The session is coming to a close, but tension will not let go. The judge stands, about to adjourn, when Mary speaks up again. Your Honor, she says softly, I believe there's something you should know, something that could tell us why we're all actually here. Cody's head jerks in her direction. Mary, stop. But she doesn't. Last year, she goes on, before Kristen left, Cody got a call from a network executive. They wanted to alter the contract, eliminate our group ownership. Cody informed us it was negotiations. But now I see that's when he determined who was important and who wasn't. She glances at Christine, then Janelle, then Robin. He was going to rebuild this family with just one wife on camera, Robin. The rest of us were not important. The room falls silent. Even Robin appears stunned, tears building. That's not true. Tell me that's not true, she says to Cody. He doesn't reply. His silence speaks volumes more than any words ever could. Christine's lawyer advances. So this whole financial plan wasn't merely about money, it was about control, image, power. Cody bangs his fist on the table. You don't understand. I was trying to keep what I created. The judge leans forward, voice icy. You mean what you stole? He glances down, defeated for the first time. The gavel comes down one final time for the day. Court is adjourned tomorrow, the judge announces. But I caution all involved, if there are more secrets, bring them now, because the truth will come to light with or without you. The courtroom drains slowly, heavy with unspoken sorrow. Outside, thunder rumbles over the courthouse like a warning sign. Christine stands in the rain, eyes closed, allowing the drops to wash over her face. He constructed a kingdom of lies, she whispers, and now it's burning. Day 4 dawns under a sky so motionless that it seems the world itself holds its breath. The doors of the courthouse groan open, and the tempest of the previous night has left puddles shining on the marble steps, echoes of the people entering, echoes of all that is shattered. Christine enters first, her coat tied tight, her eyes black with fatigue but firm with determination. Janelle comes next, clutching a folder pushed against her chest, and behind them Mary comes in, her expression impassive. The tension between them is no longer grief, it's intention. Cody comes last, accompanied by his attorney, each step rigid, practiced, guarded. Robin brings up the rear, mascara still darkened from the previous night, her hands fidgeting anxiously. When the judge appears, the courtroom becomes silent, so absolute that even the thrum of the lights sounds too harsh. Court is now in session, she says. I have read all documents, all testimonies. Before we go any further, I have one question for Mr. Brown. Her eyes narrow. Why were there further transfers to a Nevada account 2 weeks prior to this trial commencing? Cody's attorney bristles, whispering wildly. Cody appears taken aback. That was a business issue outside of the family. The judge tilts her head. Outside of the family, yet listed as a joint asset? The air grows charged. Christine's lawyer stands up, pushing a lone page forward. Your Honor, that account was used to transfer $90,000 last month in the name of Kay Brenner. Same initials. A murmur of gasps runs through the courtroom. Cody clenches his jaw. Robin glares at him, appalled. You told me it was for legal fees, she whispers. He doesn't answer. The judge bangs the gavel once. Mr. Brown, this court demands complete honesty. Withholding assets is a crime. Cody's attorney begs for time, but harm is already inflicted. Christine observes him, not with victory, but with a sorrow so profound it resembles mercy. The judge grants a brief recess, and the hallway bursts once more with reporters. Cameras click as Christine stands aside, refusing to answer questions, her attention unbroken. "He's not done lying," she whispers to Janelle. "He's still covering something up." Janelle nods. "Then we go find it before he can bury it." Robin pines on Cody in the house, voice low but trembling. "You said everything was taken care of. Why are there extra accounts? What else aren't you showing me?" He scowls at her, voice cold. "I did what I had to do. You crave security. This is it." She shudders. "Not like this." Mary, moving through the hallway, pauses only long enough to assert, "He doesn't construct security. He constructs cages." She disappears into the crowd, leaving Robin shaking. When court reconvenes, the judge's voice is chillier. "We will hear from a new witness, Mr. Stephen Grant, forensic accountant for the prosecution." A tall man appears, lugging a stack of reports. "Mr. Ye?" "Grant," the lawyer starts. "Can you break down your findings?" He nods. "From our examination, some accounts were created in shell entities related to Mr. Brown's business connections. Family pool money was channeled into those accounts over 8 years. The courtroom murmurs. How much in all? The judge inquires. About $1.2 million. The rustling of paper fills the moment. Cody's face goes white. Christine gasps, her hand shaking against the table. Robin covers her mouth. $1.2 million? She says in a whisper. "How could you?" He doesn't respond. The judge sits back, his eyes weighed down with incredulity. "Mr. Brown, do you realize the gravity of these findings?" He nods, holding his silence. "Then maybe you can tell me why more than one transaction falls on the dates your wives asked you to help them financially." Cody hesitates. "Those were coincidences of timing." Christine's tone slices through the air like ice. "No, those were the times we pleaded for help and you walked away." The courtroom buzzes once more, walls ringing with decades of unvoiced pain. Janelle stands bolt upright. "Your Honor, may I say something?" The judge acquiesces. "I have something to say. 2 nights ago, I got an anonymous email. It had reproductions of exchanges between Cody and a business partner named Mark Denton. In the exchanges, he talked about selling family property without saying a word to any of us. The lawyer hurriedly produces the evidence. Cody's lawyer protests, but the judge rules against her. The exchanges are seen on the screen, Cody's words blunt and indubitable. They'll never know. As soon as the papers are signed, it's over. The crowd gasps. Cody's demeanor breaks. "You have no idea what it's like to carry this family." He shouts. "You think you were victims? You were my responsibility." Christine rises, eyes burning. "No, Cody. We were your family. You made us assets." The judge slams her gavel wildly. "Order!" But the emotion is out now. Even Robin rises, crying, "How could you do this to us?" He beseeches her. "I did it for you." She glares at him in shock. "Then I don't want it." The silence that ensues is forever. The judge gasps, her words husky. "This court will adjourn for the day to verify these new documents. Tomorrow, I want truth from each of you." She bangs the gavel down one last time and the noise rings out like thunder. The courtroom slowly drains. Christine moves out into the hallway, the sunlight of the tall windows casting across her face. She's talking softly to herself. It's almost over. But deep inside, she's aware endings aren't neat. And the truer you get, the more perilous it is. The day of the verdict hearing breaks bleak and foreboding, as if the sky itself is taking sides. On the streets outside the courthouse, journalists congregate in groups, cameras flashing with metallic brightness like eyes watching to see history unfold in real time. Inside, the air is colder than normal, the type that sticks to individuals who have already lost too much. Christine occupies the plaintiff's table alone, her fingers running the rim of a folder. Her lawyer speaks softly to her, but she doesn't hear. Her attention is held by the vacant chair in front of her, the one Cody hasn't occupied yet. And then, just as the clock hits 9, the doors open and he enters. No attorney by his side today, just him, a black suit and the burden of all that he's done. Robin is behind him, red-eyed, slow-moving. Mary and Janelle sit in silence behind Christine, creating a wall of silence. not as wives, but as witnesses to the same tempest. When the judge comes in, everyone stands. This session, she starts, will hear new evidence that was filed last night, evidence potentially to change the direction of these proceedings. Christine's heart speeds up. The room seems smaller. The judge inclines her head toward the back. Call your witness. The doors open once more, and a man in a gray suit emerges, a face no one saw coming. It's Mr. James Carver, Cody's ex-accountant, with a flash drive clutched in a shaking hand. Your Honor, he stammers, voice trembling. I couldn't remain silent any longer. The judge invites him closer. You know you're testifying under oath? Yes, he says. I worked at Mr. Brown's investment company for 6 years. I dealt with several transfers between business and personal accounts, but what I discovered last year, what he wanted me to keep secret, blew every boundary. Cody tenses. This is absurd, he grumbles, but Christine's attorney interrupts him. Let him speak. Carver's voice breaks. Mr. Brown diverted money from the family trust to buy an Arizona property, a property owned by a woman named Elena. The name hits like a lightning strike. Robin's head snaps up. Who is Elena? She asks, voice shaking. Cody's silence responds for him. The judge furrows a brow. Mr. Brown, care to explain? He opens his mouth, closes it, and then speaks softly. She was a consultant. A business acquaintance. An acquaintance who was paid more than $400,000? The accountant specifies. The room gasps. That's not business, that's betrayal. Christine's eyes shine, but she doesn't weep. Not today. So that's where the money went missing, she whispers. While we were struggling for leftovers, you were establishing a new life. Cody glances at her, his tone low, entreating. You don't see, Christine. I wanted a fresh start, away from the clamor. The judge cuts in harshly. And stealing was how you planned to get it? Silence. And in that quiet, everyone knows this was never about finances, it was about flight. The judge motions for the evidence to be revealed. The screen flashes with papers, transfers, emails, digital signatures. No further denial now. Cody slumps his head. Robin shakes her head in incredulity. All those nights you swore we'd be fine, she whispers. You were gone already. He doesn't raise his eyes. Christine finally speaks, her voice gentle but biting. You said we were your world, but we were just the building block for the next one. The courtroom gasps in shock. The judge clears her throat. We'll take a 15-minute recess before continuing. The gavel drops. Everyone breathes out at the same time, as if they have been holding their breath for years. And sometimes the truth does not explode. It comes apart, one agonizing strand at a time. In the hallway, Cody stands against the wall, looking at nothing. Robin comes up to him. Is it true? Is she more than business? His eyes shine, guilt simmering just below the surface. I thought I could begin again, he confesses, but I never meant to hurt you. You did, she says softly, and now everybody can see it. Christine stands at the end of the hallway, observing in the reflection in the glass. Her attorney arrives beside her. You okay? No, she replies, but I'm free of the lies now. Janelle approaches her, speaking in a low tone. Do you think he has any idea what he's lost? Christine glances across at Cody, who remains stood motionless. No, she says softly, because people like him never think the family's gone, until there ain't nobody left to walk back to. Recess is over, and as they all take their seats again, the air in the room seems denser than before, as though grief itself has come to sit with them, to hear. The judge comes back in, her face set now. This court has considered the new testimony. Mr. Brown, before we proceed to judgment, you are entitled to make a last statement. Cody stands up slowly, his hands trembling as he holds onto the podium. He scans the room, at Christine, Janelle, Mary, Robin, faces which once felt home. I started this family from scratch, he starts, his voice shaking. I gave them everything I had. But somewhere in between, I lost sight of people. I saw only issues. He gulps hard, and when you view love as an issue, you begin to construct walls rather than bridges. Christine's lips fall slightly apart, her eyes going soft for the first time. Even in the shambles, still the human heart seeks something to forgive. The judge regards him intently. Are you pleading guilt? He waits. I'm pleading I lost myself. And maybe that's worse. The judge nods, writing something down. We'll resume final arguments after a short recess. The sky over Flagstaff is the color of ash when the last day begins. Cameras swarm the courthouse steps. Reporters jostle for sound bites, the scent of wet concrete heavy in the air. Inside, all the seats are taken, the balcony a patchwork of strangers attracted to the ruin of what appeared to be love. Christine is seated up front, hands folded together, pulse calm but eyes open and raw. Janelle and Mary sit beside her, quiet guardians of mutual past. Cody comes through the side door this time, with deputies leading the way. His shoulders slump, but his face bears an odd calm, the calm of one who has ceased to flee himself. Robin follows him, white, inscrutable. The judge sits and the room freezes. We have verified the use of the alias A. Dalton, she states, and this court has called Miss Elena Dalton to testify today. A door creaks open at the rear. A woman in a black coat advances, tall, poised, eyes capable of slicing through glass. She sits impassive as the bailiff administers her oath. Christine's throat constricts. This is the specter that has pursued every falsehood. The prosecutor starts. Ms. Dalton, did you handle Mr. Brown's foreign accounts? Yes, she answers firmly, under his direction. Cody shakes his head frantically. That's not true. You signed everything, Elena answers calmly. I have the emails. The judge points to the projector. Messages flash on the screen. Dates, transfers, signatures. The audience stirs. Mr. Brown, the judge inquires, do you deny signing these? Cody's voice breaks. She said it was temporary. She told it would keep my assets from the split. Elena's smile is a thin one. I told it would keep my investments safe. A shiver runs through the courtroom. You used me, he whispers. You made me the fall guy. You were never the victim, she says. You were the opportunity. And in that moment, the courtroom understands the villain wasn't born. It was constructed, piece by piece, by all of us who turned our heads. The judge's gavel comes down once. Enough. Ms. Dalton, you will turn over all documents to the court at once. Elena crosses her hands. Already done. Her voice has finality, like she's been waiting for this conclusion too. The prosecution rests. The judge addresses Cody. You've been manipulated, yes, but you also betrayed this family. That cannot be taken back. Cody slowly nods. I see. Christine observes him, and for the first time, pity seeps into her rage. The woman who once structured her existence on him now observes only a man destroyed by his own decisions. The judge stands. Prior to sentencing, this court will accept closing arguments. Christine's attorney rises, voice firm. Your Honor, today isn't about vengeance. It's about truth catching up. For years, those women bore the weight of loyalty, silence, and shame. Today, they lay it down. The lesson is clear. Trust without honesty is only control. The judge nods. Mr. Brown? Cody moves forward, shaking. I don't ask for forgiveness. He whispers. I just want them to know I finally see what I broke. He glances at Christine, Janelle, Mary, and Robin. All I wanted was to hold the family together, but I employed fear rather than faith. His voice shatters. Underscore RSP. I'm sorry. The resulting silence is unlike the last, heavy but not bitter. Christine breathes raggedly, as if letting go of years of specters. Because sometimes closure isn't victory, it's exhaustion. It's being tired of fighting. The judge hands down her sentence. Restitution, probation, financial audits, mandatory counseling. It's not dramatic, it's procedural, mundane. But it feels like the world has tilted. When the gavel finally falls, nobody applauds, nobody weeps, undefined. They just sit, drinking in what justice actually looks like. Subdued responsibility. Undefined, it rains outside no more. Undeaf, the light floods in through the glass like forgiveness that's still figuring out how to radiate. Undefined, Robin stands next to Cody but doesn't hold his hand. Undefined. What happens now? She asks him. Undefined. I do it, he replies. Undefined Christine, standing about 3 feet away, turns to the cameras but doesn't say a word. She doesn't have to. Clear fix, the expression on her face tells it all. The relief, the sadness, the ultimate realization that endings are just beginnings in disguise.